Now, when we know everything about creating graphic interfaces, it's high time to study next section, and that is creating a driver part of the project, which enables communication with control equipment. The driver part of iRidium project is created with the help of several tabs. So, the first tab is the Device Base tab. All devices supported by iRidium are stored here. Next tab, the Project Device panel. Here you can find all drivers and global variables which you are using in your open project. Let's start with description of iRidium driver system. This system will allow you to evaluate possibilities of work with controlled equipment. Let's start with a driver. A driver is a program which enables sending commands to equipment and receiving feedback, processing them, and giving a graphic interface of the project. Different types of equipment use different types of protocols for communication with external control devices and between devices in the net. That's why you can find a great number of drivers for communication with different equipment in iRidium. iRidium software package contains native and script drivers. A native driver is a driver for communication with a specific type of equipment written in the C++ language. It allows you to integrate with development that tools to set up work with this driver in such a way that you need to perform minimum of operations and settings in editor. A native driver contains all possible commands, instructions. It recognizes all possible equipment requests. That's why its use is very convenient. All settings are standard. They are described in the documentation for the particular driver. All commands to the equipment can be easily set up in the editor after getting acquainted with main principle GUI of working with the driver. On the whole, a native driver is a black box which receives a number of simple instructions and converts them in complicated commands which are sent to the equipment later. The equipment responds to the native driver and the driver converts the received data, complicated instructions into simple commands which then will be sent to the user interface in the form of strings and numbers. All drivers in iRidium base 2.0 are native. They contain instructions for sending and receiving data. The only exception here is Avian Custom System driver. Avian Custom System is a group of drivers which are set up freely and are based on the TCP, UDP, HTTP or RS-232 protocols. On the basis of this driver, you can create any control driver while adding a command for the Avian Custom System driver. You insert a full string which should be sent to the equipment using the equipment transport protocol. The only and the main difference from any other driver is that this driver doesn't contain the part which is responsible for receiving data from the control equipment and processing it. It happens so because you can receive any response from any equipment, and it's impossible to create particular instructions for data receiving and data processing. You can control any TV set, media server, converter using the Avian Custom Systems driver. You can form any command and send it to the equipment manually, but you won't be able to receive feedback from the equipment without additional setup. For example, feedback is required for receiving the current track of a media player playlist. Based on this issue, an idea of creating script drivers has appeared. The script drivers, on the basis of the Avian Custom System driver, can send any command to the net, but receive and process data from any equipment. So that is the concept of driver system. A script driver is a driver on the basis of the Avian Custom Systems driver written in JavaScript language, which enables receiving and processing feedback from any equipment. All script drivers created in iRidium are stored in iRidium database. You can create your own driver. download a driver of another producer and then add it to your own database. For example, the most popular drivers are drivers for controlling receiving data of global cache converters. This driver contains the TCP protocol of the AV and custom systems bases. It has a built-up which enables you to receive, process, and output data from this converter. This data is processed by the script module, and it's stored here in JavaScript. I'll tell you about JavaScript later. So let's compare 3 types of drivers. The first type is a convenient and quickly set up driver. With the help of this driver, you can set up connection with equipment quickly and simply. The second type, AV and custom system driver, will enable you to send any command to the control equipment via TCP, UDP, HTTP, or RS-232 protocols. And the third driver is a script driver, which is created on the base of the AV and custom system driver. It enables you to form any command, receive and process any request from the equipment. So, with the help of it, we can use any automation equipment. In one iRidium project, you can combine controlling any native driver, sending commands with the help of AV and custom system driver, sending commands and receiving feedback with the help of a script driver created on the basis of the AV and custom systems driver. I should mention again that all script drivers include this freely set up driver, the AV and custom systems driver. On the upper level work with these drivers is the same. You have to take a command, create an item, and then drag the command on the item. Dialog windows for script and native drivers can differ. It depends on the driver which is in the basis of the script and native driver. You can also select a feedback channel and then assign to the item, as I have already done. I'll tell you how to set up commands correctly and how to assign feedback channels to the items correctly in the next lessons or during our online courses, webinars, which will be dedicated to particular equipment, as these settings can differ greatly for different types of drivers. So now we can finish our acquaintance with driver system. Thank you for your attention.